Okay, so this video, we're gonna use everything we've learned up to this point. Act 2. This is the swamp. This is the thing you gotta figure out how to wade through. So a way that we make this easier is you split it in two at the midpoint. Act 1 is like winding up the toy, and Act 2 is where you let it go. The end of Act 1, they pose the dramatic question. For Toy Story, this is, will Woody become Andy's favorite toy again? Going into Act 2, the main character should believe the opposite of the armature. So whatever theme you're telling, he should believe the opposite. Their false belief that they have goes against the nature of reality and the world around them, and it's your job as the writer to make reality bite back. This is where you throw everything you can at your main character. Characters, just like people, hate change, and they should resist it at every turn. That's what your character should be coming from. So the dramatic question for Toy Story is, will Woody become Andy's favorite toy again? You want to set a series of obstacles for your main character, put in order from smallest to biggest, and fill Act 2 with them. Buzz arrives, he's on the bed, clearly he's Andy's favorite now, so your character will try the easiest thing first. The first thing he decides to do is nothing.
Howdy, Bob, howdy.
Oh, shut up. You know, in a couple of days, everything will be just the way it was. They'll see.
He's like, things will go back to normal, they'll be fine.
They'll see. I'm still Andy's favorite toy.
And the entire room is taken over by Buzz stuff. The next easiest thing is he tries to pick a fight with Buzz.
Well, so you want to do it the hard way, huh?
Don't even think about it, cowboy.
Oh, yeah? Tough guy?
That ends up going nowhere. The third thing he tries to do is he tries to trap him behind the desk. And that goes wildly wrong. Buzz gets hit out the window, and the toys turn against Woody.
I mean, Humpty Dumpty was pushed by Woody.
What?
Next thing you know, the door is opening, and Andy's coming in, and he takes Woody with him because he can't find Buzz. And so Buzz jumps on, and they both go to Dinoco.
Pizza Planet, yeah!
Next thing he knows, he's stranded at the gas station.
Andy?
He tries to blame Buzz.
You!
Next thing he tries to do is trick Buzz into thinking the truck is a rocket ship, so he'll get on board.
Pizza Planet. Andy! Buzz! Buzz, come back! I found a spaceship!
That actually works for a little bit.
Come on, that's it. Spaceship! All right, Buzz, get ready. And...
The universe explodes.
Okay, Buzz, when I say go, we're gonna jump in the basket. Buzz!
Next thing you know, the worst possible thing happens, and this is the midpoint for Toy Story. They're taken to Sid's house. A midpoint is an event that ups the stakes. It takes the story in a new direction. There's a radical shift at the midpoint. It changes the course. It's a refresh for the plot. So for Apollo 13, you can see this very clearly. The first half of the movie is all about getting to the moon.
Yes, Houston, we copy.
At the midpoint, they discover because of this oxygen leak, they don't have enough resources to get to the moon.
We just lost the moon. Gentlemen, what are your intentions? I'd like to go home.
My teacher called this the point of no return. So at this point, the character has to make a choice. They're all in. They're not reactive anymore. They're proactive. Star Wars is where Alderaan is blown up. The midpoint is them being pulled into the Death Star. Titanic is where they hit the iceberg. Get back! Princess Bride is where Wesley and Buttercup get captured.
Surrender!
You mean wish to surrender to me? Very well, I accept.
And he's sent to the pit of death. Jurassic Park is when the T-Rex breaks out. So, Act 2B, the second half of Act 2, the character has to become proactive. So, in Jurassic Park, Alan Grant's character arc, he starts out hating kids. He doesn't want anything to do with them.
If you wanted to scare the kid, you could have pulled a gun on him, you know.
So what do we do in the story? Beginning of Act 2, we throw some kids at him.
Kids! Go away!
We miss you.
So we've got this kid that loves his book, just wants to be near him the whole time, and this is where he's reactive in this part of the script. He's just trying to stay away from this kid. But as soon as the midpoint hits, the T-Rex breaks out of that cage, and the lawyer that's in the car with the kids. He leaves the kids alone.
He left us. He left us.
Malcolm tries to do a hero thing and gets injured. He's the only one that can save these kids. That's a perfect midpoint. The thing that he doesn't want to do, he is forced into this situation. And it's at this point that he has to make the decision, am I going to protect these kids? And he does. He chooses to take care of these kids.
He left us. He left us.
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
That's where he decides he's going to be proactive. The other big thing about a midpoint is it ups the stakes. The stakes are higher and failure is more imminent. At this point, the goal becomes he just wants to get these kids back to their grandpa. So he has to trek across the island to get them there. And they encounter all these dangers as they're going along. This is where we get to my favorite part. I don't know what this says about me. The all is lost moment. The all is lost moment is where things physically, in the physical world, go horribly wrong, as bad as they can. The Dark Night of the Soul is about the character's reaction and their inner world. And this is where a new idea comes in. This is where they learn the armature. They've been resisting change this entire movie, and this is where they accept it. Finally, at their lowest moment, this is where the main character accepts their need over their want, where they decide to change. I'm going to take you through examples for 4 different movies for these. So Star Wars. The all is lost moment is when Obi-Wan dies and they discover the location of the rebel base. And the Dark Night of the Soul moment is when Luke is on the ship reacting to the death of Obi-Wan. In Dark Knight Rises, he's at the bottom of the pit, his back is broken, he's made the climb several times and has failed. Gotham is under Bane's rule, the bomb is going to go off, everything is at its worst. Bruce Wayne's flaw in this one is he doesn't fear death. He fears losing a city, but he has to embrace that fear of death again to make the climb. And so he climbs without the rope, and it's his fear has found him again. And he makes the jump, and he makes it. Apollo 13, the all is lost moment is after their re-entry, they keep repeating this of 3 minutes. If we haven't heard back from them in 3 minutes, then it means they're gone.
This is the critical moment. Will the heat shield hold? Will the command module survive the intense heat of re-entry? If it doesn't, there will only be silence.
Mommy, you're squishing me.
I'm sorry.
3 minutes come.
Houston, do you read me? Odyssey, this is Houston. Do you read?
Radio silence. They don't hear from them. And then they draw this out for a very long time.
That's 4 minutes. Standing by.
Odyssey, Houston, do you read?
Then finally you hear Tom Hanks over the radio, and he's like,
"Hello, Houston. This is Odyssey. It's good to see you again."
Like it's the full emotion of the entire movie. You just have this transcendent moment of joy, basically. That's how you know that it's worked. The reason why you have this all is lost moment in the Dark Night of the Soul, and you make it as low as you can, is so you can have this transcendent high. For Toy Story, he's stuck under the crate. The alarm clock is set for the next morning that he's gonna blow up Buzz with this rocket. And Buzz has given up. He knows he's a toy now, and he's just devastated. So Woody, he's stuck under the crate, and the only way he can get out is Buzz. So he's forced into this situation where he has to either become something new, become empathetic for Buzz, or just stay his old self. So he starts to talk to Buzz.
Hey, get over here and see if you can get this toolbox off me. Oh, come on, Buzz, I can't do this without you.
So it's very selfish at first, but as he starts to see Buzz's dilemma, he starts to empathize with him. He convinces Buzz that being a toy is not such a bad thing.
Whoa, hey, wait a minute. Being a toy is a lot better than being a space ranger.
Yeah, right.
No, it is. Look, Over in that house is a kid who thinks you are the greatest, and it's not because you're a space ranger, pal. It's because you're a toy.
His arc finishing of him empathizing with Buzz finishes Buzz's arc where he embraces being a toy. Okay, this is the dark night of the soul for Woody. He doesn't think what he said to Buzz has worked, and he's basically given up.
Listen, Buzz, forget about me. You should get out of here while you can.
And then Buzz pushes the crate off. It's so great. They play with the order a little bit of the Dark Night of the Soul for him comes after the new idea moment. But it works so great because the theme is friendship. And so Buzz is the one that saves him. This might not always happen right here, but most of the time, the dramatic question is answered at the end of Act 2. So for Apollo 13, will they get home? That is answered at the end of Act 2. It answers that question, but raises a bigger question of are they going to survive re-entry? Jurassic Park, is he going to get the kids back safe to the visitor center? Yes. But then we encounter the Raptors. Star Wars, will they save the princess? Yes, they save the princess. But now there's a bigger problem of the Empire knows where the rebel base is. Toy Story, will Woody become Andy's favorite toy again? He doesn't care anymore. He's friends with Buzz and he just wants to get home with his friend.
Please. He's my friend. He's the only one I've got.
The new idea comes in, which is new to the character, which is the armature. That's the thing you're trying to prove, and this is when the character learns it. And they go forward with this armature. Their old self dies, their new self is reborn, and they rise like a phoenix from the ashes. And then we go into the third act, and I wish we could go into it right now. That's the feeling that you want to have right at the end of Act 2. If you don't feel like you absolutely have to see the end, you failed at Act 2, which that failure may actually be in Act 1, but somewhere along the line, you haven't done your job well enough. But this sets the stage for Act 3. This is where they face the big monster that's been looming this entire movie. And they face down Bane, they face down Sid, they face down the dinosaurs, they face down the Apollo moon monster. I mean, they face down the challenge of re-entry. And this is where, if you've done Act 2 well, you should fill that thrust into Act 3. If this were a book, this is the spot where the reader could not close the book. They have to turn the page to know what happens until stuff is resolved in Act 3. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about this stupid dinosaur movie. And they do it so well. This is... yeah. Yeah.